This is the story of Saint Valentine. The church remembers him during the time of the color green. But I wonder why we remember Valentine. Let's see. There once was a man named Valentine who lived in ancient Rome. Not in one of the big houses of smooth white marble, but in rooms above the noisy street. He was a doctor. In his rooms he had many things to heal people, mostly herbs that he picked in the fields outside the city. He used something like this to grind up the herbs so he could use them for medicine. When people came to see him, sometimes they didn't have money to pay him, so he would accept something they had made, a pair of sandals or some warm bread instead. Not everyone knew that he was also a priest. That had to be kept a secret, because in those days it was against the law to be a Christian. Whenever anything bad happened in the city, they would put blame on the Christians and put them in jail or kill them. So when Valentine prayed, he did so quietly after closing his door. One day, an old man and a little girl came to his home. She could not see. She was the old man's daughter. He took care of the prisoners in the big jail in Rome. Valentine knew that it would be hard to cure her because she had been born blind. But he loved to talk to her, and he put something cool and wet on her eyes to make them feel better. When the old man wanted to pay Valentine, Valentine said, "No, I want to give this to your daughter." At night, when he prayed for his patients, he prayed most for the little girl. Valentine and the little girl became good friends. Sometimes when her father was busy at the jail, Valentine and the little girl would go into the fields to pick the herbs he used to heal people. The little girl loved to pick the first flowers to bloom in Rome after winter, the little crocuses. She gave them to her father. One time, Valentine heard a noise outside his door. He hoped it was the little girl, but instead there was a terrible crash. The Roman soldiers broke into his home and took him away. They had found out that he was a Christian, and they took him to the very jail where the little girl's father was the jailer. The old man could hardly believe his eyes when Valentine was brought into the jail. He didn't know what to do. A few days later, soldiers came to take Valentine away. Before he left, he asked for a pen and some ink and something to write on. The jailer hurried away to find it. When he came back, Valentine wrote something on the piece of paper, and he rolled it up and said, "Please give this to your little girl." And then he said goodbye, putting a hand on each shoulder and looking him in the eye. The old man watched as he disappeared and knew he would never see him again. That night, when he went home, he gave the rolled up piece of paper to the little girl. She asked, "What does it say, Father?" And just then a crocus that had been rolled up in the paper fell to the floor. The old man read, "From your Valentine." When the little girl picked up the flower, she could see it. We remember Valentine because he loved so well. Now I wonder, what parts of Valentine's story you like the best? I wonder what part of the story is the most important. I wonder what part of the story is about you, or where you might be in the story. And I wonder if we could leave out any part of the story and still have all the story we need. Now let me show you what's inside this booklet and how you can use it to find out more about Valentine. Here is the map of where he lived. Here is the flag of Italy where he lived. Here is the timeline when he lived. And inside is the story of Valentine's life. Now, let me show you how we put the story away. Here is the mortar and pestle for making medicine. Here is the crocus, like the ones the little girl liked to pick. And here is the letter, like the one Valentine wrote to the little girl. Here is the booklet that helps us remember Valentine. And here is the green, because we remember Valentine during the green and growing time of the year. Now I wonder what you would like to do or make today to help you remember St. Valentine. Thank you for listening to today's story, and please join us again next week.